The original 2003 Clone Wars microseries has been re-released on Disney Plus, and today I will give my review on both episodes. Let's get into it.
Have you seen Star Wars?
This past weekend, Disney added a new section to the Star Wars category on Disney Plus, and this new section is called Vintage Star Wars. And one of the premier pieces of media that they showed off was, of course, the original Star Wars The Clone Wars microseries that released back in 2003. This served as the middle part between episodes 2 and 3, and also released between both episodes back in 2003. And I watched this all the time during my childhood, and would always watch the Battlefront 2 trailer and the Republic Commando trailer that came with the disc at the very end of it, and it was really cool. This 2-episode microseries was the only piece of Star Wars media outside of the movies that I could watch for years, so it holds a very special place in my heart from my youth. But how does it hold up today? And truth be told, it's not that bad. I think we can all admit that the 7-season Clone Wars series from George Lucas and Dave Filoni is the best out of the two. It's not even a competition. It is a landslide victory for the Clone Wars that we all know and love. But this micro-series still has a lot of really cool moments that feel true and pure to Star Wars. In a sense, this feels like the perfect filler between episodes 2 and 3, because we get to see Anakin go from Padawan to Jedi Knight, and we get to see him venture into this new war that has just begun. It's one thing I kind of realized rewatching it that I never realized when I was growing up, is that we actually see him go from completely inexperienced, never really taking command at all, until at the end, like, he instantly takes command and he is in charge of his own battalion. But chosen one aside, this macro series is very over the top on the action, and because of that, it holds nothing back. It is trying to be epic, it is trying to be grand in scale, and I like that. Yoda and Mace Windu single-handedly take on armies of separatist droids, and General Grievous destroys a group of Jedi. It's really cool. It doesn't take itself too seriously, and that is one thing I love about this version of Clone Wars, is someone like General Grievous. He's actually intimidating and really badass in this version. In the 2008 Clone Wars, he's portrayed as a coward who often runs away from battle, and we never get to see him do something as epic as take on the entire group of Jedi and win. The 2003 Clone Wars ties in more with the expanded universe than most Star Wars media since then. We've also gotten great villains from this, like Dirge, Ventress, and Grievous, of course. All three of these villains are very unique, and it's kind of interesting to know that all three of them came from this version of the Clone Wars. And when I think about Dirge, when I think about Ventress, when I think about Grievous, I don't really look at this version of these characters at all, and it's kind of nice to go back and visit them and also see a little bit of where some of them started. The most glaring difference for me, though, between the 2003 Clone Wars and the 2008 Clone Wars is really boiled down to story and plot and the characters that we're interested in. And one of them, of course, is the clones. The clones in this version are really just like the droids. They are a means to an end for the Jedi, and you have no connection with them in the Jedi Order. I mean, the Jedi, there's some certain ones that you like, but when it comes to their connection with the clones, it's not there, it's non-existent, and that's a complete departure on what we're used to from the Clone Wars of today. The Clone Wars in the 2003 version have no personality, none of them are very unique, they just have different names. And I think that really shows the difference of quality of storytelling, because I like seeing all the different personalities among the clones in the 2008 version, and sadly, this is just the clones going to war for the Republic in the 2003 version. It's not a bad thing to avoid this storyline, but when you compare the two shows, it's clear that the more interesting route in storytelling is delving into the clones and their personalities, because when it comes to a war between droids and clones, when you portray it like the 2003 version does, or even Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith do, it's basically like watching two manufactured armies go against each other, and it's hard to have any emotional connection or stake in this situation, because the droids are droids, they don't have any life to them, and even if the clones do have life to them, when you portray them like this, where they have no personality, they don't actually act like humans, you don't actually care that the clones die in this version, because you don't see them as people, you just see them as clones who are just manufactured for the Republic's army. It's a very interesting contrast between the two, and it's one that I haven't really thought about since I watched this when I was a kid. And speaking of relationships, another thing that was missing was the friendship between Anakin and Obi-Wan. They don't seem like best friends in this version, but they really fit that father-son relationship that more aligns with them from Attack of the Clones and their dynamic in that movie. The characters are, of course, the ones that we're used to from the prequel trilogy. It's kind of like a direct continuation of the prequels and where that story route was going. And our main two characters are Anakin and Obi-Wan. Padme does get a lot of scenes, but nothing of real significance like she does in the movies. I do think she took a kind of a backseat in this version. The micro-series really fits the time when it was released, and I think that's one important thing to remember when you watch this. And it's hard to think about now, but when this came out, it was after Attack of the Clones, and when we really had no idea on what Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, was going to be like. I mean, we had an idea, but we hadn't seen the movie. We didn't have the Clone Wars that we do now, so it feels more grounded in the story of the prequels than I think the new Clone Wars does, and that's not a bad thing. It's really weird to say, because I can't imagine the Fall of the Republic without the stories from the Clone Wars that we know, involving Ahsoka, involving Rex, Fives, and so many others from that amazing story. This just feels like a time capsule for Star Wars. I really enjoy that aspect of it, of looking back at 2003's Clone Wars and going, this is kind of how it felt at the time watching Star Wars. This is kind of the direction it felt like it was going, and then now we look at it today and we're in a completely different direction. And this was interesting because it is a piece of George Lucas' Star Wars as well. He took a big interest in anime at the time and wanted to mix it in with Star Wars. The original Clone Wars microseries was a fun 2-hour rewatch, but truth be told, I find no real reason to rewatch this anytime soon in the future. It was a great watch when I was younger, but the story and the plot are just somewhat tame for Star Wars. It really is just a big action-packed anime in the Star Wars universe, and that's what makes it so fun to watch, but it doesn't touch the surface of storytelling that we expect from the Clone Wars now. I give the original Clone Wars microseries a 5 out of 10. It's not bad, but it's also not the best Star Wars story out there to watch. It's always fun to visit an old piece of Star Wars media like this one here, but honestly, it just makes me happy to know that we didn't stop here with the Clone Wars. This was a good stepping stone for what we actually had, and I will always cherish the memories of watching this at my dad's house on the weekends when I wanted to drift away into Star Wars fun. So I'm glad to rewatch this, but probably won't be doing it anytime in the future. But tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. Have you rewatched the original Clone Wars series on Disney Plus? And if so, what did you think about it? Leave all your reviews in the comment section below and tell me your thoughts on the Clone Wars micro-series from 2003. Thank you all for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a like. If you enjoy my content here on Star Wars Only, become an Only fan by subscribing to the channel. I'm Star Wars Only. I will see you all next time, and may the Force be with you, always.